He's right there at, so we can't see much?
We can't see anything at all right now.
All right, we can't see anything from him right now. Could you ask him, Majestic, could you ask Damon to move north with this storm? See if he can get up closer to Ozark and then maybe a little bit north of Ozark, because the movement of this cell and where the circulation is with it is coming kind of toward the Ozark area and Mountain Grove. And so where he's at right now, Peter Pender, he's going to need to get back up toward Ozark and then move north with it from there. So have him move in that direction right now if you could. Have him start moving toward Ozark, and we're watching for a possible circulation, which is pretty weak right now. We're not seeing anything terribly intense, but there could be a new circulation develop right in this area, and it would go right up there toward Ozark, so a little bit north of his area. We'll watch that, but definitely, and if we go back to our base velocity data right here, and I'll see if I can, and this is just pure wind data, right? So the radar is seeing how fast the winds are, and they kind of uptick right there, close to 50 miles per hour around Cecil, coming toward the Ozark area. Another area of brighter values, 30 to 50 mile per hour winds. So pretty intense winds coming toward Ozark. We want to be indoors away from windows as this cell comes into Ozark. But at the moment, it is a severe thunderstorm warning. Now they've got the tornado tag on there, as Robert mentioned, and all that really means is that the main threat is pretty much winds, a little bit of hail, but it could try to spin up a tornado with time, and they would issue a new tornado warning if that were to occur. But in the meantime, they're kind of watching for maybe a little bit of a tornado threat to try to materialize with time, is kind of what that means. But right now, the main concern is straight line winds. And let's go back to the storm in northern Madison County. We do have some cells coming into Benton County right now, coming into Bella Vista. None of these, from what I've seen up to this point, have really shown much in the way, if any in the way, of significant rotation. Haven't seen anything from any of that. You know, we can pull up our Springfield radar too to get a different perspective of all this. And it's a good idea, especially for the cell in northern Madison County, because at this point in northern Madison County, that storm is basically halfway between our Springfield radar and our Fort Smith radar. And it's getting close to the Springfield radar. So we might stick with the Springfield radar for a time. That circulation is definitely tightened a little bit. At least it looks like it aloft from our Springfield radar. And that is a fairly tight, impressive looking area of rotation coming right into Rock House. So it's already right on top of Rock House. Hopefully we're in our safe spot now. Berryville, you've only got a few more minutes. We need to get in that safe spot right now in Berryville. Let's get in that safe spot right now in Berryville. I want to pull up with our Springfield radar again, coming into northern Madison County, our correlation coefficient values. And we do see a little bit of a dip in values right here. When you see within a sea of red right here, where the values kind of dip more toward those cooler colors, that is indicative sometimes of the radar picking up some debris. And we see it right there, and then we see it up toward West Liberty, just north of Clifty, which is pretty close to where our circulation is. So that may be tornado debris getting picked up. It's hard to say, mainly because the storm is so far away from our radars, basically, again, directly in between our two closest radars. And the radar at this point is basically looking around 4,000 or 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere to see what's going on. And that doesn't give you an idea of what's going on at the surface necessarily, but it does give us a good idea that, yeah, it is circulating. There's even a little bit of a circulation north of that, but the primary one is over Rock House, again, coming into Berryville. Moving still at 50 miles per hour, I believe. Yes. Still moving at 50. So still a very concerning storm right there. I want to go back to our Franklin County storm. And for that, we want to switch back over to Fort Smith. And not seeing any uptick in circulation at the moment. Right there. I want to come back over here off to my left. and take another look at all of this with multiple radars.
And Darby, we do have a little bit of a better picture from Damon. He's still driving at this moment, but
Go ahead and pull that up in the storyboard.
I can do this right here. There's Damon Shaw.
Okay.
There's
that
his
works too.
picture.
Yeah.
He's in Franklin County, folks. He's headed back toward Ozark as we're keeping a close eye on that severe thunderstorm warning as well. That's the storm that has the tag of a possible tornado. That severe thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado. So the Weather Service out of Tulsa is watching that storm very, very closely. But you can see where Damon is right now. A little bit of raindrop and the occasional flash of lightning. But for the most part, things are still relatively quiet where he is. We'll check back with him in a few minutes. Still, though, as Darby's been mentioning, keeping an eye on this severe thunderstorm and this tornado warning across portions of Carroll and Madison counties.
It is a tight circulation here. I'm getting another look here off to my
And probably some hail, too.
left.
We're probably getting some...
Probably some hail. Probably some hail.
Saying 7 miles northeast now of Clifty, moving northeast at 65 miles an hour. So this storm is flying. I mean, it's moving as fast as most of us go on I-49. So you have very little warning. It'll be here and gone. You have very little time to prepare, especially if you're in Berryville right now. You got to get to that
Here,
safe
I'm
spot.
going to step back off so I can get control again of the radar, Robert, if you can give me control of that once more.
You should be good.
Okay, there we go. All right. So, yeah, look, I want to come back to this right here. That circulation, wow, really. And again, this is really far from the radar, but that is when you see those brighter red pixels indicating winds moving away from the radar very quickly, right next to these brighter green pixels moving toward the radar, and when you just have a couple pixels right there, very bright, very pronounced. That's what we call a couplet. That is a concerning area. And that's from our Fort Smith radar. We're probably going to see something very similar from our Springfield radar. And it has tightened up right there over Rock House. It has tightened up. It's about to cross into Carroll County. It's right now on the Madison-Carroll County line. Look, if you live in Carroll County and you live along Highway 221, you need to be in that safe spot right now. If you live along Highway 221 from around the Madison-Carroll County border all the way through southern Carroll County up to Berryville. This is going to ride its way right up 221 up to Berryville. If you live along 221 going up to Berryville, especially just to the south and southwest of Berryville along Highway 221, this is a likely, I would say at this point, a likely tornado on the ground, given what we're seeing on radar. And we're seeing the debris signature right there. We're seeing that debris signature, not necessarily pronounced, but we're seeing a little bit of a debris signature there at the moment. And again, a bright red pixel. You've got, we can actually take a look at the gate-to-gate shear right here, 38 miles outbound to, well, it's 38 miles outbound to 63 inbound. So right around 100 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear. So pretty impressive. And the kind of thing, when I see that on radar, even though we can't confirm a tornado on the ground necessarily, because we don't have that confirmation from the National Weather Service yet. Majestic, do you know of any confirmation from the National Weather Service yet?
Not yet. We haven't seen that.
Okay, so, and it's in a rural area. Look, this is going through the Ozarks right here. Beautiful area, but very rural. And so we're not going to get as many reports from there. And if you could take a look, Majestic or Robert, we're live on Facebook right now. There are going to be people living in that area who might say, see what, if they're seeing something that might be saying something. So let's keep an eye on that. This is a likely tornado on the ground coming into Carroll County. And we're seeing a bit of a debris signature. Not something that screams debris, but it gives me the impression that that may be a legitimate debris signature. That is a strong area of rotation. And again, we've got the tornado watch in place. And here's a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is a storm we've been worried about too, that I suspected they might eventually issue a warning on. They have done so, and this one includes Benton and Washington County. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. Majestic, can you tell me if do they have a tornado tag on the severe thunderstorm warning?
No.
They don't, so no tornado tag with that one. That's good. That's certainly a good thing. I hate to see it when they put on there that's a possibility. You kind of want it to be just the winds or maybe just the hail. You don't want to have to worry about the tornado. But with time, that could change. I mean, the structure of this storm as it comes into Washington County, let me go ahead and put this in motion here for you. The structure of this storm as it comes into Washington County is somewhat impressive. All right, and it's right along the cold front. So what the hope right here is that we'll see the same thing happen with this storm as it comes into Washington County that we saw happen with all the other storms along the front throughout the night into the early morning hours, which is the front undercuts the storm. And yeah, it produces some really large hail in some spots, maybe some damaging winds will be possible around Westville, coming into Prairie Grove, right around the Lincoln area. I'm sure there's Lincoln. Right around Lincoln and up towards Cincinnati to somewhat, but this is coming right toward Fayetteville. We want the front to undercut the storm. That prevents the tornado from happening, and it still gets some hail and wind, but we're not sure if that's what's playing out right now just yet. We'll have to wait and see. We come back to our storm relative velocity data, much like what we've been seeing throughout the morning. There is clear circulation there around Peavine as this comes toward Washington County. Not to the point apparently where they would, put a tornado tag on that storm, and I understand that, but it's just something we're going to have to keep a close eye on. And at this point, the storm coming into Carroll County is so far away from the Fort Smith radar, we've really got to exclusively use. Let's see, try that again. We've got to exclusively use our Springfield radar. So we're coming back to this, and we've seen a decrease, perhaps a little bit of a decrease. We still have some gate to gate. Right here, we've got that bright green next to the red pixel, gate to gate right there. That's why we call it that. And indicative of maybe still some pretty tight circulation right there coming into Berryville. But it does look a little bit weaker than it did before, which is a positive sign. We still have that debris signal perhaps. It's not an exceptional debris signal indicating that if it did produce a tornado, probably not long-lived, probably not particularly intense. Going through a rural area, we still don't have a lot of leaves on the trees in the Ozarks, so not going to be able to pick up as much debris anyway. But still concerning, still very, very much concerning as this comes into Berryville. I want to come back to our storms in Franklin County, okay? And again, that's our tornado warning. If you're just now joining us, our tornado warning is now really exclusively into Carroll County, and it goes until 6:15, and it is booking it. It's moving off to the northeast at 50 miles per hour, so before you know it, it's already going to be in Missouri. But at the moment, still there in Carroll County. We are watching. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. Some other weak circulations I've seen in parts of Madison County that we'll have to keep an eye on.
And we are going to get a new tornado warning for eastern Madison County.
Okay, yeah. We were
somewhere right in that cluster.
I was seeing some rotation with some of what we had here. There it is, right there.
4 miles southeast of Witter, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour.
I was wondering if they're going to issue a tornado warning on that. All right. So there's the new one coming into Venus and moving toward Weathers. If we kind of zoom out a little bit here, you can get your bearings a little better. Huntsville is still way up here. So Huntsville, you're dodging bullets all over the place. Going north of you is that spin up, which, oh, goodness, appears to have maybe intensified according to our Fort Smith radar in the last scan. And then we've got one to the southeast of you. So both of these are not anywhere near Huntsville, or at least not coming into Huntsville. But here's the Newton County line. All right. Here's Ponca, right? Zoom out a little bit more. You can see here's Huntsville. Boxley area, Ponca. It's kind of moving in the direction of the Ponca-Boxley area. In fact, it's not too far from Kingston, I'm sure, at this point. Where's Kingston? There's Kingston right there. All right. And really, that has intensified, hasn't it? Yes. That has definitely intensified there over Madison County. And if we put this in motion, we'll notice it is moving off to the north-northeast. Here's Kingston, so it should stay just south of Kingston. But if you live just a little bit southeast of Kingston, down the highway that takes you down in the valley right here, Highway 21, into Boxley Valley, especially as you get closer to Boxley Valley there along Highway 21. I mean, up here, you're at high elevation here in this part of Madison County, up around 2,200 feet in elevation. And then as you come into Newton County, you drop into the valley right here. But if you live a little bit southeast of Kingston, especially into far western Newton County, closer to Boxley, if you live around Ponca, if you're in the Weathers area right now, you need to be in that storm shelter right now. All right, this circulation has really begun to intensify. Weathers, we need to be in our safe spot right now. Folks in the Boxley area along Highway 21 between Kingston and Boxley, we need to get in our safe spot immediately as well. Okay, if you live in the Ponca area, they're going to need to issue a new tornado warning, I think, for this area. We'll see. But the National Weather Service in Tulsa covers Madison County. National Weather Service in Little Rock covers Newton County. And
Little Rock is going to extend that tornado warning into Newton and Boone County.
That makes sense. That's kind of what I'd expect from Majestic. Have you heard from Damon
I'll double check right now. Let's see.
He is still
going north.
Yeah, his stream is up. Seen some pretty impressive lightning from his shot.
Yeah.
If you want to bring it up, I believe he
I'll
is.
go ahead and pull up his stream.
His stream. There it is. Looks like he's
just now crossing
the Arkansas River.
Right?
Yeah. So he's pretty much right back in Ozark.
Moving back north into Ozark. I want to come back to that. We can't see much right now. The sun's going to be coming up soon, but it's not up yet. We don't have a lot of serious circulation just yet in this area, which is good to see. Let me go ahead and pause this, switch back over to radar. But yeah, it's already starting to push north of Ozark. So that's good to see. We might want to have this one right here is looking pretty dangerous. Now we can actually see the edge of the cold front right here, it looks like. So these storms forming right along the cold front could still become dangerous if they don't get undercut by the cold front. We'll just have to wait and see. They probably will, but the structure with this storm around coming into Stigler, also very impressive, much like we were seeing earlier with that storm coming into Washington County. That structure not quite as impressive as it was earlier, but still a nasty set of storms right here pushing through Highfield, just went through Siloam Springs, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for this line as it comes into Bentonville, Rogers, Lowell, Springdale, Johnson, Fayetteville. Mainly a damaging wind concern, but again, that spin up could try to rematerialize at some point. Let's take a look at it from our Tulsa radar, not seeing.
And what's important there, Darby, with that line of storms in western Benton County is that line represents the end of the threat.
It does. It's not just, it's important, but a relief.
Yes.
For sure. 60-mile-per-hour winds being estimated by our radar in Tulsa, which we like to use when storms are moving west to east across northwest Arkansas, because it's going to give us the best idea of what the actual storm motion is. Now, it's looking up about 3,000 feet up in the atmosphere, so that's not near the surface. We don't know exactly how strong those winds are really getting near the surface, but it's not unreasonable to believe 60-mile-per-hour winds could be occurring there. So something to watch. Not seeing any serious circulations anywhere in here, little bits trying to maybe spin up a little bit here with the north part of the set of storms coming into Benton County, but not really anything that looks serious just yet. We'll have to watch that. And again, watching these storms towards Stigler. They could, the organization with this is a little more impressive as it makes its way toward northern LaFleur County, Sequoia. And eventually that would move into Fort Smith. So we'll have to watch that pretty carefully as well. Let's go back to our tornado warning storms. There we go. National Weather Service in Little Rock has expanded that tornado warning into Newton County. Let's go back to our storm relative velocity data. Still over weathers, but you can see it's making progress toward the line. And again, here's the highway, right? Here's 21. And anybody who lives in Northwest Arkansas, who visits Newton County as regularly as I do, gets out there to the Buffalo River, does some climbing, hiking, camping, that kind of thing, knows that highway like the back of your hand, I'm sure. So you know the area I'm talking about. It's moving right toward there. If you live in this area, we need to be taking shelter right now, getting in that interior room. And look, especially folks around here, just a little bit southeast of Kingston along 21, before you drop in the valley, you are exposed. You are very exposed. You're at a high elevation, and so the damage potential increases. I hear folks talk about sometimes, oh, I live on a ridge, I don't have to worry about it. Or I live on a hill, I don't have to worry about it. That's where you have to worry about it the most, because you're the most exposed to the wind. So we need to get in that safe spot immediately in this area. We do still have the tornado warning, and from our Fort Smith radar, a dangerous looking storm for sure right there over just now passing through Berryville and now east of Berryville and northwest of Green Forest, right around Cisco. Again, this storm's moving. Let's get to our Springfield radar. It's going to give a better idea of what the circulation looks like close to the ground. Doesn't look as impressive from our Springfield radar closer to the ground, but at times it certainly has. At times it certainly has. So still a storm, very, very much capable of producing a tornado if it doesn't have a tornado on the ground right now. I see again, gate to gate right here, that bright green pixel next to the red big pixel give me the impression that we've got some tightening of circulation right there, either a tornado forming, maybe on the ground, or trying to form, at the very least, a funnel cloud in these areas. Majestic Robert, have you seen anything on the Facebook Live from anybody living in any of these areas? I know you can't watch it continuously. So.
I have one. Amy said
Okay.
she lives in Hinesville off of Highway 303 near War Eagle. She said she got super strong winds and about golf ball size hail. So the storm is very strong, she says.
Wow, golf ball size hail, and this deep blue right here worries me a little bit. It's kind of, it's developing. Let me go. That is very near. This drop in CC values right here, this deep drop, is very near where the circulation is. Very close. Are we getting any new reports from the National Weather Service?
Nothing.
No, nothing yet, Darby.
Nothing yet? Okay. And I like what I'm seeing. And again, look, hey, if you're in Yoakum, safe spot right now, okay? The good news is, hey, for folks around Berryville, the threats passed on off to your east, you're good. Rock House and these areas, the threats passed off to the east, so you're good to go now. But we're not out in the clear yet, and this is passing now north of Green Forest, but just a little bit north of Green Forest. Not very far north of Green Forest at all, okay? And so you can see working its way up toward Yoakum right here. And look, if you're in the Yoakum area, if you're in the Oak Grove area, if you're over toward Blue Eye, closer to the Carroll, the Arkansas-Missouri border right here, you need to be taking shelter immediately. This is a serious storm with serious repercussions, perhaps, if it continues to spin the way it's spinning right now. And we still haven't gotten a confirmed report of a tornado on the ground, which is good. If we did have a confirmation of a tornado on the ground, our red box right here would turn purple. And that would indicate the National Weather Service is able to confirm that a tornado was actually on the ground. So that's a good thing. That's a positive sign. But it's entirely possible because of how rural this area is, where the storm has moved through, that a tornado was dropped at some point, if it's not still on the ground, and maybe just never got reported.
I just got a report from Debbie. She says the hail is huge in Highfill.
Huge hail.
Oh, that's back near XNA.
See if we can get any pictures or video.
Okay.
Take a look at Twitter and Facebook, and if we're getting any pictures or video,
Okay.
let's see if we can get that on the air.
Or people can also go to the ULocal Facebook
That's right,
Arkansas page.
we may already have somebody on.
We'll
Let's
check
that. Let's check that. Yeah, post any now. Take those pictures safely, folks. We're not asking for anybody to go out and take pictures or video in an unsafe situation. Look at this. They've issued 2 new tornado warnings in Missouri. One for looks like a new circulation trying to develop just south of Branson, and then the other one for this very strongly rotating storm around Yoakum, which again, we need to be in our safe spot right now around Yoakum. We're getting some bad data, unfortunately, from Springfield.
Nothing.
Newton County border, but my goodness, that circulation also very strong. Now it's right over the top of Highway 21. You got to remember the radar, it's a snapshot in time, and that time was really about 2 minutes ago. And so 2 minutes ago it was right here, but right now I'm sure it's right over Highway 21. That's something to keep in mind.
And one of our producers just told us, Darby, that currently the buses for the Bentonville School District are running slightly behind schedule because of the inclement weather. So if you're waiting on your bus this morning, it'd probably be a few minutes late, because in Benton County right now, especially as you see there right near XNA, Vaughn.
And look at that lightning. Can we pull up let's see if we can pull up some cameras here. Let's pull up our Lowell camera. Can you put that on the metrics?
Yes, give me one second.
Make sure
here.
you choose the live option.
Yeah.
And we'll pull that up, because Lowell right here, just ahead of these storms. I've got it pointed, just so you know, Robert, kind of toward the southwest.
Okay.
We'll see what it looks like.
Go ahead.
And that was Damon earlier. That's Fayetteville. And I believe I've got it on metrics too, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
So let's see here. Oh, where is it? There we go. And that should switch it. There we go. All right. So well, there's the lightning. Hard to see much. Let's see if we can move this camera a little bit. So this is our JB Hunt camera in Lowell. And we've clearly got a lot of lightning. I've got it pointed toward the southwest, but I'm going to move it. Okay, so we're going to move this camera kind of more toward the interstate.
Yeah, so we're going to change it, folks, toward the west and northwest.
A little bit of a lag, but all right.
There we go.
So we can see that lightning as it comes into Benton County. We'll keep a close eye on that. That storm in Benton County and in Washington County, that's a straight line wind threat. Okay, this one right here. As it comes into Bentonville, comes into Rogers, it's a straight line wind threat. We don't have much reason to believe at the moment anyway that it's going to have much of a circulation.
Weather Service says that that storm in Carroll County, a large tornado might be trying to develop with that storm.
Okay.
As it's nearing the state line.
It certainly looked that way. Let's go back to that. Come back to Springfield here. I mean, the circulation doesn't actually look as impressive this go around from Springfield. I'm sure it looks, if the Fort Smith radar can get to it, I mean, that's much more impressive. It's rotating really strongly aloft. We've got what we call a mesocyclone with it. Anything new from Damon, by the way? Let's check back in with Damon, make sure that this could have a large tornado on the ground here pretty soon, if it doesn't already. That's what the National Weather Service is saying, and you can kind of see why. We've got that circulation for sure right there. Correlation coefficient. We've seen this dip in values right there it's kind of on the edge of where the greatest circulation is, so it's hard to say for sure if that's really debris getting lofted in the atmosphere.
We did get an email from a gentleman who said that a funnel cloud did pass east of Clifty,
Okay.
as well as County Road 8388 in Madison County earlier.
I believe it. And here's that rotation. It's passed over 21. Now it's over the Ponca area, kind of between Compton and coming toward Compton. We need to be in our safe spot in Compton for sure there in Newton County. And we're still watching for any spin-ups along the storms that are coming through Benton County and Washington County. I'm not seeing anything. My guess here is that the front is undercutting these storms as they come through Benton and Washington County. These storms right here, my guess is the front's undercutting it, disallowing much circulation, especially closer to the surface from ever really getting going. That's really good news for us in Benton and Washington County, even though these storms, they come in really, really intense. I want to go back to our camera in Lowell.
Ooh, look at that.
There we go. Now
we got an update from Damon. He said he's going to be heading west towards Alma and Mulberry for the Oklahoma storm right now.
That's a good idea. Give him the thumbs up emoji there. Absolutely. That's kind of what I was thinking he might. And the camera really bumping around here. We're looking to the west as these storms come toward. They're approaching the I-49 corridor. I don't expect to see any funnel cloud or any wall clouds or anything like that. You may see something that looks that way, but mainly all I'm seeing is the base of the thunderstorm right here. And there's the rain behind it, the heavy rain behind it. So not seeing anything concerning, but the camera's bumping around a little bit. I mean, this is a bumpy storm for sure, and one that's going to produce some pretty intense winds as it moves through. And look, we're getting into rush hour now, 6 a.m. rush hour, and down I-49, that heavy rain's going to hit, and it's going to make travel downright difficult, if not dangerous, for a time between Bella Vista and all the way down to Fayetteville. All right, and this is coming into Fayetteville too. Now, this part of the storm has been a little bit more concerning. What was that?
And we do have a report now of pea-sized hail in Bentonville.
Okay.
So you can expect that.
We can hear the rain starting to hear.
Very loud here.
And I know I've been watching you, Majestic, and Robert, you too, from home myself. And I've been able to hear the rain pelting down heavy when I've been watching you from home sometimes. You can kind of hear it when it hits the roof here.
But the good news is the tornado warnings have been canceled for our county.
Yes, and that is a good point. This storm right here is now exiting Carroll County into Missouri. So if it has a large tornado on the ground, that is going to be an issue for folks in Missouri here shortly, but it is exiting our area, okay? And the storm here, and there it is, right there. You can see the circulation with our radar in Springfield, and then if you pull up Fort Smith, they're going to see it in kind of a similar area. Now it's in Newton County, so now it's entirely out of our viewing area. I know some folks can watch this in Newton County, but they are covered by the TV stations in Springfield. So I do want to come back to what's going on farther south here as well. This is the storm that, let's come back to radar. This is the storm that Damon was talking about. He's going to kind of keep an eye on and probably go after. I suspect this one's also probably going to get undercut pretty quickly by the cold front, much like what we're seeing with the storms farther north in Benton and Washington County. But I tell you, there's a little bit of structure there over Rogers that I don't like to see. But at the moment, looks probably.
And I would say what we're hearing at the station, Darby, right now,
hail.
we definitely have some hail here in Rogers.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Yeah.
We have,
thumping
Alicia says,
right now.
dime-sized hail in Rogers with heavy rain, lightning, and wind.
Yeah, let's go back to our camera. And again, in Benton and Washington County, it is, exclusively at the moment a wind and hail threat. And anybody on Interstate 49, you know it as well as I do, when heavy rain hits, especially when it's sudden heavy rain, you get accidents. So that's a danger in of itself. But plenty of lightning, obviously, with these storms as well. But the good news is not seeing any serious circulation.
I don't know if it's working or not. I did turn on...
In Benton or Washington County. Just a little bit there, perhaps, but not anything that gives me the impression that right now we've got any serious tornado concern in Bentonville or Rogers. But pretty high reflectivities right here. When you see high reflectivities like this, it gives you the impression that there probably is some hail, and they're issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning for this storm for the rest of Benton County, the eastern half of Benton County. So Pea Ridge over to Garfield over to Beaver Lake. What was that,
I'm
Robert?
not sure if it's working or not, but I did load up our roof camera on Skyboss 3.
Okay, let's pull that up.
Not sure if it's working or not.
Yeah, it may not be, that one may not be, well, it looks like, nope, no, it's not. That one's not working. We do have, here's our camera in Fayetteville, and let's put, and you can see the lightning. So those storms are starting to, and this is looking to the southwest from Fayetteville. And if I pull up our radar,
I can load up our Embassy Suites camera on one of the metrics.
and I'm seeing a little bit what we call a bounded weak echo region right here,
Yeah.
where you've got strong updraft trying to materialize. I have to watch that. We'll have to watch that.
And I put our camera on top of the Embassy Suites. I put on, I believe, metrics 1. So if we want to go to that, that's also in Rogers where they're seeing that extremely heavy rainfall right now. That should be on the metrics camera. No. Try it here on channel 2.
Yeah, channel 2.
There we go.
Channel 2.
Yeah, and you can see people driving with their four-ways on. Very much reduced visibilities there because of the severity of the heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, definitely some hail tossed in there as well. We already got word that the buses in Bentonville are slightly delayed because of the severity of the weather that's moving through Benton County right now. So, if you're waiting for your school bus, folks, if you're watching us on the 4029 app, your bus in Bentonville could be a little bit delayed this morning. As we've got some really, really rough weather sliding through at this hour. But the good news is the rough weather that is sliding through Benton County currently, for the most part, is the end of it. It's the back end of this line. Once that wraps up, the thread ends, and we're actually looking at a pretty nice day. But it is anything but nice right now. As you can see, cars are really taking their time this morning.
Majestic, were you able to, did anybody post anything to you local yet?
I haven't seen
anything
I haven't
either.
seen anything.
Okay.
So,
Well, I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll get something there, maybe not. But going back to radar, and this line now extending a little bit farther south, but it's already passed through Bentonville. Was that Majestic?
Will is going to pull up a live shot of the heavy rain in Bentonville.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's starting to move out of Bentonville, so it may be, and that was with where Emma was at, I believe, earlier. Yeah. Well, if you pull it up, you can go for it, but it looks like it's starting to move out of Bentonville, fully over Rogers right now, coming into Lowell as we speak, into Springdale as well, but, less intense part. Even within these less intense, what looks like less intense, at least where the rain's less intense, you can have still some very strong wind gusts. So best idea is to be, indoors away from windows as this pushes across I-49, already starting to move out of Bentonville. It's already out of Bella Vista. This whole area right here from Bentonville to Bella Vista on west, we're now in the clear. All right, that's it. We're done. We're done with everything through the rest of the day. So this is kind of the last show kind of pushing through northwest Arkansas. We've got some cells developed ahead of this. Might have to watch with time. But wow, and this cell in southern Missouri is really taking off south of Branson. That one worries me, and this one moving toward Harrison, That one's still got some very strong circulation with it. Those,
Saying that real quick, we do have a camera in Harrison. I can pull that up.
okay, let's.
Let me pull that up on the
Now,
metrics.
it's not quite to Harrison just yet. We might want to save that in your back pocket.
Okay.
And let's come back to that maybe a little bit later on. I do want to go back to our storm here around Stigler, which has been slower than a lot of these. Well, this was the initial cell that we were worried about, and then the one a little bit farther south has actually gotten a little bit stronger. But this is the one Damon's moving toward. But look, here's the front. So it has gotten undercut by the front, this cell right here. Now, these cells right here toward Talahina, coming toward Poto, not just yet. They may have more opportunity to eventually produce a tornado, but this cell right here looks like it's already getting undercut by the front. I suspect that's kind of what's going on. I suspect that's what's going on there. Now, again, the cells coming toward Poto could be a different story, but not particularly intense at the moment. Now, pretty soon here, we're going to be able to get back to regular news, I believe. Just so everyone's aware, Una and everybody in the studio, we're going to get back to regular news operations, I think, here pretty soon. And let's, if you want to get ready for that, let's shoot for that here in a few minutes. As we don't have any tornado warnings currently in the area. The two storms that were either producing tornadoes, if not still producing tornadoes, have exited the viewing area, and one into Missouri and the other one out here toward Harrison now. But those have exited the viewing area. And we do still have some severe thunderstorm warnings. We want to cover those, but we might be able to get back to a situation where we're doing some news coverage and then coming back to weather every once in a while. Let me know about that, if you could. Who do we have producing back there? Dylan, let me know about that. You might talk to Katie or Colleen about that real quick, if you could. We're good. All right, well, let me know what you find out. Okay, when I'm done pitching. Okay, we'll do that. All right, so again, watching this cell right here as it makes its way into Sallisaw and Bacoshi, kind of in between Sallisaw and Bacoshi, that's going to be one that, even though it's getting undercut by the front, still producing some hail and some gusty winds. So watching that one, and then we'll keep a close eye on that activity to the south of it. Fort Smith area has kind of been in between a lot of all this activity so far, but you're probably not going to miss that storm around Stigler. I think you'll probably have to deal with that, and the wind and a little bit of hail associated with it as well with time. Let's pull up that Harrison shot, because at this point it's about coming into Harrison, as we can see right here.
Should be good.
And that's on
metrics.
The metrics. Okay.
That is Harrison.
Ooh,
that's a live look at Harrison right now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I cannot move the camera, so this is the shot.
Okay.
But yeah, lots of lightning there.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you take a look at, where the spin is with the storm as it relates to Harrison, that spin up is right here, and it's moving, it looks like, right toward Harrison. Went over Compton, moving right up the highway into Harrison. So that's a bit of a concern there for Harrison. Folks in that area are going to want to take shelter. But again, we're not seeing any of these tornado warnings turn to purple, indicating we haven't gotten any confirmation of tornadoes on the ground, which is always good to see. All right.
Can you go back to that metrics camera? I just want to check one thing here real quick.
Okay.
Because we also have a camera very, very close.
In Eureka Springs too, right?
And we have the camera, and it should switch. Yeah, this is a live look, and it's dark, and I figured we'd get some lightning or so. We're actually looking at Table Rock Lake up near Branson, where that very strong tornadically warned storm is. Unfortunately, can't see anything with that right now. So I'll put, you want to go back to the JB Hunt camera on metrics?
Yeah, actually, let's do that.
Okay. Should be good. That'll switch over in a second. Yeah, we're back now on the JB Hunt camera.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. All right, so folks moving along, and we're also starting to see things quiet down there in the Lowell area. And as we stop the map, you can see, or at least along the interstate right where that camera's at, which is right about here.
We did get a quarter-inch hail
So that heavier
report,
rain now is starting to push a little bit farther east.
quarter-inch hail 5 miles west of the interstate on Highway 16 in Fayetteville, probably as you work your way back toward Prairie Grove and Lincoln.
And you can see, you could see some intensity right
Yeah.
there where you're talking about. That's coming into Fayetteville. We can go back to our camera in Fayetteville, looking in that direction. You can see the lightning. Certainly a bit of lightning in there. Not seeing anything that looks terribly dramatic. I want to keep an eye on this for a second, because I don't think the front has quite undercut what we've got
And what's important
there
is,
in Fayetteville just yet.
you know, and this is what we've been saying for the past couple of days, not everyone is going to see a storm. It's a pretty broken line. There's some gaps in the line. But where you are seeing the storms, they are very powerful, feeding off the energy in the atmosphere. It took a while for the storms to, really start to percolate, but not everybody was seeing the activity. But those who did, as you saw with the numerous tornado warnings, the severe thunderstorm warnings, those storms really ramped up very, very quickly. In about a 45-minute period, those storms went from nothing to extremely powerful and severe. Thankfully, as Darby has showed you on the radar, and as we take a live look outside to Fayetteville right now where you can see all that frequent lightning, the back edge of the line is pressing through Benton County and Washington County right now. Guys, do we still have that shot with Emma and Will outside? Oh, we don't have that? Okay, that's fine.
I do have to point out, we do have a new area of circulation developing in eastern Benton County. I can hear the sighs in the studio here, and I can almost hear it from the people at home. I mean, I hate to say it, but we've got a new area trying to spin up a little bit here between Garfield and Beaver Lake. It's kind of a weaker area of circulation, but it's something we're just going to have to kind of keep an eye on here.
But I do want to stress, no active tornado warnings for our area, just some severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. Tornado watch does remain in effect.
Yes.
They should be scaling that back over the next couple of hours or so as the threat moves from west to east. They will scale back that tornado watch. So, quick reset. If you're just joining us this morning on 4029 News Sunrise, it's been a busy morning as we continue to watch showers and thunderstorms across the entire area. Earlier this morning, we did have some tornado warnings across portions of Madison and Carroll County, although no confirmations of any actual tornadoes on the ground. They were just the potential. Those severe thunderstorms had the potential to drop a tornado. We did get one email sent to the station of a possible funnel cloud that moved near the Clifty area, which is in extreme northern and extreme rural Madison County, right near the Carroll County line. Tornado warnings do continue at this hour for portions of south central Missouri. Those storms moved out of Madison and Carroll counties into southern Missouri. They're now the problem for the Branson area. We still do have numerous very strong to marginally severe thunderstorms moving across portions of Benton County right now, and we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of LaFleur and Sequoyah County through 7 a.m. with 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds possible with those storms. I don't know if Darby can bring back up the radar on your screen.
We're going to have to go back to those. Real quick, let's go back, pull up Harrison, if you wouldn't mind.
All right, the Harrison camera should be back on. Darby, if you want to bring that up on the metrics.
And this circulation's coming into Harrison just about as we speak here. So I don't know if we'll be able to see much here, again, because it is still a little bit dark. But that circulation's coming into Harrison. little bit of lightning right there. I also don't know exactly what direction this camera is pointed at, so I can't tell you if this is looking in the direction of that possible tornado. But
I believe it's pointed northeast right now.
All right, then it wouldn't even, that's in the opposite direction where we need. So again, we're starting to see things clear up in Rogers to Lowell, Bentonville totally clear. This storm right here is starting to try to develop a new area of rotation with it as it comes into Carroll County and approaches areas around Eureka Springs. So this could be a concern for Eureka Springs because of this area of circulation trying to develop there. So that's just something we're still watching. I don't see any other areas of concerning circulation anywhere else in Benton or Washington County. So that's good. Just the heavy rain going over toward the cell that's coming into LaFleur County. It's interesting what we're seeing right here around Keota, but I don't think that's serious spin at the moment. That could change because, again, it's getting undercut by the front. So that's pretty helpful. And then this storm around Tallahena, we're starting to see some lightning with it. So that's definitely going to be something we'll keep an eye on. So let's keep a close eye on all of this. I want to zoom back out. These storms right here moving toward Fort Smith. We've got a new warning for it. They're getting undercut by the cold front. So helping to limit that tornado threat, at least for now, as it appears. But still, as they come into Fort Smith and Van Buren, could pack a punch, some wind and hail. And then the storm south of that, still south of the front, so those could be more of a concern tornado-wise as time goes on. And we do have everything right here in Benton and Washington County and about to push through Fayetteville completely. Just about to push through Fayetteville completely. And now we've actually have a confirmation on that tornado warning in Missouri. But coming through Fayetteville right now, very, very intense rain and probably some intense wind with that too. But again, just a little bit of a wind and hail threat with that. So let's go ahead and we're going to get you back. We're going to get you off to break. We're going to do a little bit of news.